Hi, my name is Agnes and I ruptured my right Achilles tendon on June 8th, 2016, and I went with the non-surgical route, the non-operative treatment, which is sometimes called conservative treatment. This is a review of my week 10 and 11. So the biggest difference in the last 2 weeks was basically my doctor's checkup, who confirmed that my tendon is healing well, that it looks strong for where I am right now, and he said that it's time to start weaning out of the boot, and this is also per my protocol. That's when I'm supposed to start using shoes. So I went to a doctor in my boot. If you watched any of my previous reviews, this is the Max Trax boot that I've been wearing. This is a boot with adjustable bottom. So at the beginning of the treatment my foot was down, and then it was being put up all the way to neutral as it is now. One problem I had, since I still needed a boot to go outside, I was supposed to start walking indoors first in my regular shoes, and I still had to use the boot going outside or when I do any activities that are not stable for the injured leg. The one thing is my straps wore out completely. It doesn't stick anymore. So I was given a new boot, and this is an air cast boot, and oh my gosh, what a difference. This is so much more comfortable, lighter, smaller. It has only 3 straps. It has adjustable air pockets, and you pump them, one on left, one on the right, and you release the air if not needed. So it's slightly more advanced from that perspective, but it does not have movable bottom. So if I had this boot from the beginning of my treatment, then I would have to wear wedges inside of my boot, and that was one disadvantage that my doctor was telling me, that some people slip, their foot slips down when wearing so many wedges. So they do still, in the hospital that I was treated in, prefer using the boot with adjustable bottom. I don't know which one is better or worse as far as comfort. However, when you start walking, the Aircast, the new boot that I have, is much more comfortable. When wearing a boot, I'm still using my even up on the good leg. I spoke about it in the previous video, but this is a platform that allows you to be basically stable on both legs and the same height on both legs while walking when wearing a boot. So another thing was I haven't seen my doctor for a month, so I asked a lot of questions. I had a list, and that's actually a tip I have for everyone. When you go to a doctor, write yourself a list of all the questions you want to ask. It is so easy to forget them once you're there, and either the doctor rushes or you're overwhelmed with some information and so on. So it's good to have a list. I have it usually on my phone, and I don't leave the office until I ask all the questions. Last time I actually felt bad for my doctor. I had so many, but that's what the doctors are for. So that's one tip I have for you guys. So since I was clear to start getting out of the boot, my PT changed in the last 2 weeks as well. In the first PT after my clearance, my physical therapist basically asked me to stand up on a half foam roller. So just imagine the big foam roller just cut in half and put on the floor. And he asked me to put my heels on it and stand up. So I just, since I've had quite a few sessions with my PT already, I trusted him. So I just got up without thinking, and then I freaked out. I'm like, oh my god, I'm standing with no boot on. So it was like a really exciting moment. I have the only photo of it that I'll show. And since then I was given quite a few calf exercises, and I have short videos of it I took over the last 2 weeks. Other than that, with it's walking that's changed, and that also I have a video of it. So when I got out of the boot at the beginning of week 10, I started my walking, or I should say limping. So the way it was happening, I was moving my good leg, and then my bad leg was being placed down, and then right when I hit the 90 degrees, I was not pushing off really, I was immediately moving my leg. So I was basically limping. So this was my walk for, I think, 2 weeks, but I thought that's how I'm supposed to walk. I was really afraid to move my foot in dorsiflexion. I basically thought I'm not supposed to. So one day I just went to my PT in 2 shoes, since initially I was only walking in the shoes in the house and not outside. So at the beginning of week 11 I actually went to PT in both shoes, and he saw me limping, and he stopped me. He's like, okay, we need to correct this walk. So he told me to basically start with the heel, roll through the whole foot, and actually it's okay to push off now. That walking with putting a foot in dorsiflexion position will not cause me to heel long, and it won't cause my tendon to snap. It would be more if I do a lot of stretching or exercising that put my foot in dorsiflexion position, that could cause me to heel long. But as far as walking, I don't have to worry about it. So now my walk looks like this. And again, it's my right leg that's the injured leg. So as you can see, I don't have that limp anymore, and this is after 2 weeks of walking with no boot. And what helped me was my PT recorded me from the side, and he just slow motion showed me move by move and tried to correct my walking. The only thing that I'm feeling is a little bit of weakness in my knee, which is something of course to be expected. So the walking doesn't feel uneven, but as long as I try to walk in the correct form, I'm pretty sure that will disappear with the PT, continuous PT. So again, here it is, I'm walking. And this is not, it might look easy, but it's not. If I talk to someone and try to walk, I do limp still. I really have to put my mind into my leg and like concentrate on every single move, otherwise my walk is not proper. This is a laying down prone plantar flexion. So basically what I'm supposed to do is squeeze my calves while extending my toes and relax, and hold it for 10 seconds, but concentrating on the calves and relax. So one of the exercises was seated calf raises, and basically I'm supposed to raise the raise the heel and squeeze my calf as much as I can and lower it. I'm supposed to hold it for 10 seconds, lower it, and basically have 20 reps of that, and I'm doing 3 sets like that. So that's how I started with no weights, and then I kept applying weight. Like the following few days I added 5-pounder and was doing this, still concentrating on that squeezing of the calf. Then I moved to 8 pounds, 11 pounds, 13 pounds. So that's getting slightly more advanced, and now I am at 35 pounds. And since this is so heavy, I need a towel on my knee. It's heavier for me to pick it up than actually work my calf. So I put it on the knee and still squeezing my calf, concentrating on this and not using the rest of the leg. Lift it and hold it basically as much as possible. And if that gets too easy, I do the last 5 reps just pulsing, and that works the calf muscle slightly differently. So when it comes to biking, I was biking with my boot for a while, and at the beginning of week 10, I was cleared by my PT to bike with no boot on my injured leg. This is my right injured leg. So what I do is I basically keep my foot in the plantar flexion position. I don't hold it straight since the whole motion will put my toes up, and I just go ahead and bike as such. And this is like pretty easy resistance now, but I go almost all the way up to the resistance, and as I apply more pressure I have to push it pretty hard, but I still keep my foot in this position. So that gives me pretty good workout, and I am really able to break out some sweat, and I really am working on my upper legs and a little bit on my calves. In the last 2 weeks, I finally stopped sleeping in a boot. Yeah, it took me longer than my protocol says. I was cleared to sleep without a boot earlier, but I was just scared to be unconscious with the sheets in bed with my leg flopping around. So my doctor said it won't hurt me if I sleep in boot longer. That doesn't do any good or bad. So I stuck with the boot in bed longer, and in the beginning of week 10, I finally bit the bullet. I'm like, okay, I've been cleared to walk with no boot. No, I should start sleeping with no boot. So initially, in the first night, I slept in my compression sock just so that I remember that something is wrong with that leg. My first night, I didn't sleep much. I kept waking up all the time and just being scared of anything touching it. It was just weird. And then the following few nights, I slept in my fuzzy sock. So that's just something that reminds me if I wake up in the middle of the night that there is something different with that foot. And about a week later, I was normal. It took me a while to be completely comfortable, but I got there. So whenever there is time for anybody to, boot the boot during the night, take your time and just do it at your own time and at your own comfort. Lastly, this is what I'm holding. It's a KT tape. That's something that I was asking when I start walking with my shoes. Is there any protection? Now the fear of a rupture is occurring, and I was told that KT tape will not protect me from it. However, it will get me a mental reminder. If I do put my foot too much in dorsiflexion, then I'll feel the stretch of the KT tape. And I have a video of my PT putting it on me, so I read through the video as well. But that's something that was helping me in the last 2 weeks to sort of give me slightly more mental confidence while walking. So this is the review of my week 10 and 11 of my non-operative treatment of Achilles tendon rupture, and I hope that whoever is watching it and got that far in the video that you are doing well, and if you are just learning about this injury, I hope the video was informative. Again, to recap, the biggest differences in my last 2 weeks was weaning out of the boot, starting walking into shoes. I'm still unable to walk bare feet, always need to wear shoes, but I'm outside of the boot at least. And I stopped sleeping in my boot, started taping my foot, and just basically my PT is progressing. It's getting harder and harder, and working on that calf to start get these muscles, getting them back basically. So wishing happy healing to all. Bye.